Good morning, Facebook world. Sandra Waldrop here from Kingdom Acres on Facebook. I am Kingdom Acres Homestead with Sandra Waldrop on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm a little crooked. Let me try to fix this a little bit. Oh, my tripod keeps moving. Okay, that's okay. Hopefully I'm straight enough. So if you read the description, you know today we are making a little honey pot. And I love to use things that you might already have around the house, things that would normally go in the trash, and inexpensive things. So that's kind of my jam. I have never had a huge budget for home decor and things like that. We homeschool and we are on a one income. So everything I do around my home is on a budget. So I like to make a lot of really inexpensive but very cute decor items. So let's get started. I've got this is actually a sauerkraut jar from the store. A pickle jar would work. You just want it to be kind of like round and fat. That gives you kind of more of the honey pot look there. I've got some coffee filters that we will use as well. And this is like one of my favorite things. This is Crayola Model Magic. I can usually not remember that name, but I made sure and look from before I went live so I could remember Model Magic, the words Model Magic. I don't know why that's so hard for me. Anyways, what we're going to do with the Model Magic is we're just going to make kind of a fat rim. This rim on this jar doesn't really give like honey pot aesthetic or vibes, whatever the word is for today, the youth of today. But okay, so I'm just gonna make like a little snake, and I want it to be nice and thick. So I'm gonna use just a little bit more of this foam clay. It does like to kind of stiffen up in there, so you might have to work it a little bit to make it good and pliable. But I'm just gonna wrap this back around and get it going. I'm using, you can already see like marks on my paper because I didn't even change my paper from yesterday. I went live on YouTube yesterday morning. If you missed that, please, at some point today or this weekend, when you find you have some time, go over to my YouTube channel. The link is in the description, and check out my YouTube. I went live over there. You might have to click on the live tab. I don't know if the lives show on like the regular video feed. It was my very first time going live on YouTube. So, okay, this is what it's looking like so far. All right, I'm just going to take some water on the tips of my fingers and I'm going to rub to smooth this out. It does not have to be perfectly round or perfect. Some bumps and edges are fine. We are going to be going over this with the coffee filters. So there's a lot of forgiveness where there's imperfections, but also in primitive decor, things like having imperfections and quirks and, not uniform look. That's kind of historically accurate, right? Because back in the day, everything was made by hand. Especially like pioneer times or things like that, because they didn't have like printers like we have now, inkjet printers and things of that nature. They didn't have the machines we have now, laser cutters and Crickets and all these fancy devices. No, sir. They did not. Okay. So I'm just going to trim off the little excess that went into the jar. And I'm just going to push down and kind of slide my finger around to get that little bit of excess back in there with its friends. Okay, a little bit more water, just as smooth, smooth, smooth. If you hear slamming, crashing, booming in the background, it's because I do not live by myself. I've been blessed with 4 beautiful children, and they are up living life and taking care of things for us, doing chores and preparing for their day. We have a super fun activity planned for the homeschool community. After this, we will be going to the park and having a tea party, a spring tea party. So the girls are going to get the drink dispensers ready for me and wash out all of our stemware. You know, we want it to be really pretty. And then on the way, we'll stop at Dollar Tree and get all the extra little things like the tablecloths and stuff. So anyways, so there you go. You can see this kind of fatter in one area, not a big deal. But it's pretty round, pretty smooth, and it's just the way I want it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these coffee filters, and I'm going to try to get rid of these cut edges. I don't want any hard cut edges on there because they don't blend the greatest. So I'm just going to tear those off and toss those to the side. Okay. Now I'm going to open up my Mod Podge, and I'm going to get out a fancy Dollar Tree sponge brush. We are living high on the hog over here with our fancy Dollar Tree items. And I'm not seeing any comments. If you have commented, just so you know, I have not seen any comments come through. Sometimes they don't work. Eventually life will get figured out in that area of Facebook, I hope. That's just something that many creators have been dealing with. Sometimes I'll start out being able to see comments, and then as the show goes on, I will lose my comments. So, and I'm not touching the camera or anything like that. It's just kind of what happens. So I'm just using some Mod Podge here, and I'm taking it down into that glass rim, because when I put this on, I'm going to push down the tip of it in. Okay, and this is going to be kind of crinkly, kind of wrinkly. It's not bad. Okay, it's kind of a whole look, and I like it. Oh, but I didn't get it over where I Mod Podged. So let me just move that over. Let's try again. The good thing about this is that it's very forgiving, and I could have left it there and just added more Mod Podge, but the Mod Podge I had already applied will dry while it's waiting on me to figure out things. So don't want to be wasting the Mod Podge. We go through a lot of it around here. Okay, so here where I have the edge, I'm just going to pull it back and put a little bit more right there, and then push it back over. I'm not going to worry about going over the top just yet, because once I get this whole thing down, I'm going to add, I'm going to go over it with a different type of Mod Podge. So, okay. Now let me just take this off. I've been seeing eyeballs come in and out. It just gives me like a little eyeball alert on there, but it's not showing me who's popping on. It's not giving me any information today. That's okay. I am fully fluent in talking to myself, and I am hilarious. I enjoy my company. So, we'll make it through. We will make it through, I promise. Okay, so going back in there on the glass in the rim and bringing my Mod Podge down again. And I'm just going to cover this whole glass container with these filters, with these coffee filters being held on with that Mod Podge. And the reason why I want the coffee filters to go over and in is because that's what's going to hold on my clay long term. I'm not really confident that it would stay long term without something on there holding it on. So it does like to stay and dry on there, and if nobody's bumping it, I'm sure that it would be fine. But I want to make a product that's going to last generations if I can. You know, maybe this is something that can be passed on to my grandchildren or great-grandchildren after my son and my daughters are done using them in their homes, you know. So it's just something that it's a legacy that I'm leaving for my children. Handmade home decor that can be passed down. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And yeah. Okay. Let's see here. I am pushing, and just kind of getting it on there the best I can. With wrinkles, the wrinkles are not a horrible thing. And even going over the top of this with a little bit of Mod Podge to make sure that it's staying down on those seams. It's going to be good. Just kind of rub it back and forth, make sure it's getting in there, under there, worked good. So we want it to stay. Okay. And I am going to tear off this bottom. I'm not going to do the bottom. I always say that I could go back and do the bottoms of these jars, but I have yet to actually do so. So if you want to do the bottoms when you're doing this, or you're doing it for a craft show or whatever, then definitely do so. But I am not at this time in my hectic schedule and my time constraints. We're already 15 minutes in. Just kidding. We have time. We have plenty of time. This is not a super long project. This is something that can be done in a short amount of time. And it's fun. This is something you could do with your grandkids or with, you know, friends, you're having a girls' night in, this would be a fun little project. Be a fun little project. Okay, I have just like a little spot here that I need the tiniest piece. I'm just going to use this little edge there and tap that down, and no one will ever know that that was not originally part of the piece. See? And some of my clay is kind of moving around because I've got my hand in there. Maybe I just need to do it like this. Yeah, that's going to be better. Okay. Oh, you know what though? Let me tear some more coffee filters first. Let's see here. I see eyeballs. I don't know what's going on with this Facebook. I really wish that comments would show for me all the time and I wouldn't have to question. But you just don't know. Oh, hey, would you hand me the iPad? Let me see if I can see things. It's dead? Okay. Will you plug it in, please? My children have a tendency to realize that a device is dead and then not plug it in to charge. It's like, that doesn't make sense, right? Because then when you need it, it's not ready to go. It's not ready to go when you need it if you do that. Okay, let's put a little bit more of this Mod Podge on there so we get a nice good stick. Getting nice and sticky for our coffee filters. We're going to a tea party. Everyone's going to be dressed up. You need to go put on something nice, okay? All right, maybe I can. All right, that's going to work perfectly all the way to the bottom, just barely. Not a whole lot of excess there. Stick this down in that crease to make sure we've got that roundness to the top. Set this down and push it right on over in there. I'm just going to pull on it a little bit. Give it a good crease. Okay, I'm missing a spot in here with the Mod Podge. So I'll just add a little bit more. And then, so I've got some spaces here that don't quite have filter situation. So let's see here. Once your hands are fully like coated in Mod Podge and halfway dry in places and wet and sticky, it can make things a little bit tricky. Sticky and tricky. It's hilarious to me. Okay, let's see. I know I'm goofy. That's okay. I like it. All right, just putting that. Okay, getting those edges down. All right, let's see here. I've got a good amount of Mod Podge here that I'm going to need some overlapping on the other pieces for that piece. Coffee filter. So, okay. I'm just going to tap that down. On there, good. Let's see here, okay. I was going to lift that corner and put more Mod Podge, but it doesn't want to come up, so it must be having the Mod Podge must have what it needs to make it stick. And that's all I can ask for. All right, one more little piece right there to cover these little missing areas. And put it underneath a bit. Okay. And if you're doing this with friends or you're doing it for a craft show or something, you probably want to go ahead and do the bottom. But I'm under time constraints, so I'm not doing the bottom. All right, I've just got this little section in the back left to do. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's see. That looks like it needs help. Okay, just gonna coat this really good. Give it a nice layer of Mod Podge all over the clay, all over the glass, into those seams. And this one is kind of, okay. That one kind of pulled up a bit. Let's see here. All right. And then I will go into the top there. And let me tear this one first so that we can just go right to it. Right to getting all that covered. Just taking off all of these little pieces in it. If you've been watching, like I'll tear off little pieces of these just to cover little spots where that hard edge won't be noticeable. Like if it's curling under the bottom of the jar and I just need a little tidbit, then I'll just use this because it's not noticeable, that hard edge. But when you're overlapping those hard edges with soft edges, it becomes very noticeable. And that's why I remove those hard edges from there. Okay. And just putting it in strips and pieces. Okay. I'm gonna go over here and kind of pull it up a little bit and in and pushing that over. Now on this one, the coffee filter tore a little bit when I pushed in on it with my nail because it was already saturated with that Mod Podge, so it was wet, and then I pushed on it and it tore. I'm not going to worry about fixing it because we are going to be putting a strip of fabric around the top, or maybe some raffia or something just to give it a little bit of embellishment. We're going to do some zhuzh. So I'm not going to worry about that because it's going to be covered anyways. Let's see here. Get this over onto that glass. And the great thing about this is that, you know, you're putting the clay on fresh and it will harden over time. Just sitting on your shelf. You don't need to worry about firing it or putting it under any sort of heat. And that's why we're able to just go ahead and decorate. If this needed to be baked or anything like that, you wouldn't want to be putting flammable items such as coffee filters on there. That would not be a good situation. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit more Mod Podge here underneath. So get that. And again, we are going to go over this with a different kind of Mod Podge that's going to kind of give it a glaze, but also give it more color. I'm just going to tear off. Oh, very pretty. Very, very pretty. Okay. Let's see. We've got a little spot. And this thing has Mod Podged itself to my finger. Does not want to come off. Wants to be best friends forever. Okay. There we go. Going on there. Perfect. Good job. Good job letting go, little coffee filter. I've got have another little, just another little spot. Well, actually, I don't even have to cover that because I can cover that with the label we're going to be putting on. But this, I'm going to use another little piece of those hard edges that I took off. And I just put that hard edge going towards the bottom, and that worked out fine. Okay, and now I just have this last little part. Looks like my Mod Podge have dried some, so let's recoat. Recoat right there. Okay, add more all the way to the bottom. Hopefully all is well out there in the world today. It is such a beautiful Friday morning. I went outside already and looked at my garden, and I had an army worm on one of my plants that I was not too keen to see. So I just took him off and tossed him in the grass and said, no, sir. So hopefully he will stay away, but I will be moving things around here pretty quick and covering a lot of my plants in my garden with netting to keep out those bad bugs, because I really don't like the pests. The bad bugs are more abundant than the good bugs, is what it seems in my area. So I'm just gonna cover my plants. I've kept my squash covered this whole time with plastic, and so in that little garden bed, when I pull back the plastic, yesterday I got hit with like a wave of humidity, and it like fogged up my glasses and everything. It was so humid in there. Like, okay, it's getting like really warm now, so we're going to need to remove the greenhouse plastic and do netting now, because I don't want to cook my plants in there. But if I leave it open, then I risk having the squash vine borers come and help themselves to my squash. And I'm not sharing. That is not in the plans for this year's garden. So, but it's not the end of the world if it does happen. I can replant in July when the squash vine borers are kind of out of season. They've had their cycle, and it's too hot for the eggs to take and all that. So, and even if my squash do well, I will still likely plant more in July, because we love squash. I love squash. My kids are not like the biggest fans of squash. I've got my daughter over here waving her hand saying, don't you tell them I like squash. She, in fact, does not like squash, but squash is a big part of my diet because while they're eating things on pasta, I'm usually eating my meat and stuff over some type of squash. So, and that to me is quite filling and delicious, and I am needing more and more squash all the time. And I am just coated in Mod Podge, just completely coated in Mod Podge. Okay, one last little bit here. All right, and there we go. I'm just gonna go around and tap, 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 and make sure everything's covered and good enough, good enough. Okay, that's what we're looking at right now. Is it starting to look like a honey pot? I think so. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get my label, my honey label. So I got my label off of Etsy, and the name of the Etsy store is, what is it? Crow's Feet Boutique. Crow's Feet Boutique. My goodness, this Mod Podge is just coated all over me. Excuse me while I descale my skin. Okay, so Monday, when I did my craft on Monday, I used 2 of the labels that are also in this pack, but I had them printed in black and white. This is from the same pack from Crow's Feet Boutique, and I printed these in color, and this is the one I'm using today. She has a really nice collection of different primitive looking labels that I really love. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a little Dollar Tree brush here, and I'm just going to go around with water. I'm going to go around my label just to wet that paper, because I want it to have that soft edge again. I don't want the hard edge from the scissors. I want it to look kind of torn and tattered, because that's more in keeping with the primitive style and just the overall look that I like. So, okay. I've got that good and saturated. Now I'm just going to tear. And that's coming off super easy. So easy. Okay. If I put it down and put my finger against that label, it's going to help it tear like closer to, not exactly obviously, but closer to where I want, or you can just like pinch it and pull, especially in those curvy areas, since my finger doesn't curve like the label. Okay, and then you just go around and pinch off anything you don't want. This didn't get a good coat close to the label. So I left on quite a bit of white. So you want to get close enough to the label with your water that you're pulling off most of that white, but you're also not causing too much discoloration for the ink. And from what I've heard, if you print these and you don't mess with them for like 24 hours, that's better. They're less likely to run. The ink is less likely to run. So that's a little tip. I printed this like 10 minutes before my live started. So yeah, so they could run. They could definitely run if they wanted to, but Goodness me, I've got so much Mod Podge. Okay, so that's how it's looking nice and tattered. Okay, now I'm going to find my front where I said I wanted to have my label. Let's see. I want it to look kind of wonky from the front. I don't want it to look super uniform. I'm thinking like that, okay? I'm not ready for that just yet. First, I'm going to get my coffee podge and throw it everywhere. Just give it a good toss all over the table. Just kidding. I had loosened the lid because I wanted to be prepared. But I normally do not. So that left me open. I set myself up for a nice little spill there, doing stuff out of the ordinary. Normally I just fight with the jar on camera. Oh gosh. You know, it's funny. Funny. Okay, so I'm going to just use a little craft stick and give this a stir instead of shaking it and having it fly everywhere. Because, you know, just cause. No real rhyme or reason to why I wouldn't want to toss it everywhere, just cause. And I'm just gonna go ahead with the same Mod Podge brush that I was using, because this is a mixture of Mod Podge with coffee grunge, and this is a Tracy Campbell recipe. You can find the recipe on her Facebook page, My Sweet Home Living. And if you're having any trouble finding her page, you can go to my page, and I have the link to her coffee grunge pinned to the top. So you'll just go to that pin, and you will hit her page name, go over there, and she has so many great crafts, as well as the coffee grunge recipe and coffee podge recipe. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just give this a coat, make sure all of this stuff, all the coffee filters are sticking down, and this is going to give it kind of that uneven stained look, and it is going to seal down my coffee filters. So I'm going to do that, and you can use this if you want to print in black and white and save yourself some printer ink. You can do that and then just go over your label with the coffee podge or coffee grunge, whichever one you want to stain that with. I used on this, you can't really see from there, on this one that I made on Monday, this little cookie tin, I did this with the coffee podge, and it turned out really nice. It has the coffee grunge that you use to make the podge with. It has instant coffee, vanilla, and cinnamon in it, so it smells divine. And then you get staining from the coffee and the vanilla, and you get the specks of cinnamon in there, which add character and give it more of that aged look. And this is a great recipe because it does not attract any bugs or anything like that. I haven't had any problems with pests or it like being sticky. Once it dries, it it is good and dry and there's no stickiness to it. So that has been very nice. Okay. Now I'm going to look at where I want to put my, let me see, I just saw a little spot there. I'm going to put my label where I had decided. Okay, it said right here. Just gonna wipe that off so I can continue to use the bottom as a holding spot. Oh, my bangs are messing with me today. I'm kind of in that period where I want to cut them, but I don't want to have them anymore. I just want them out of my face. So I have to leave them. I'm just gonna go around this and give it some blending around the edges. Smooth it with my finger a little bit. Whew. My hair, I've got one hair. Okay, there we go. And just going to, okay. So that's how it's looking right now. Look at that. Oh, I love that. Okay. Now I'm going to get out my cinnamon. No, cinnamon. I'm thinking just the instant coffee. The instant coffee will be good. I'm just going to, okay, so this instant coffee is from Dollar Tree. Another technique that I learned from Tracy. And it is so cool. It just creates a really cool aged effect. And it gives you that nice kind of grungy look. So I'm just going to sprinkle this, and it's going to be kind of clumpy. And that's what I want. I want it to be kind of clumpy. And I'm just going to tap it down with my fingers. Okay. And that's how it's looking so far. Okay. That right there added quite a bit of character. I'm going to use this old coffee lid, and I'm going to give myself some Mod Podge. I'm going to use my little deal here, my little brush, goodness me, and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap to seal those down, and they are going to dissolve with the glue to give it that nice kind of like an age spot look, grungy, kind of even like dirt, you know, when you're getting stuff out of your garden and everything, your jars get dirty, your baskets get dirty, and your honey pots can sometimes have speckling of things. I think I'll also put a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit more of the cinnamon. And Lily, yes. Can you put PW out, please? Yes, ma'am. That's just going to give it a little bit more. I didn't know that you were right there. I'm glad that you were. She was just sitting in the kitchen. Okay. Let's give it a little bit more dimension with that cinnamon. Okay. So that's how we're looking. Look at how good that looks. Oh, I love it so much. Okay. Now I'm just going to hit it with my blow dryer, my fancy schmancy heating tool. First, I'm going to put this in here. Anything that is powdery will fly, and oftentimes little pieces of paper. I'm just going to hit it with this blow dryer. and we will do some finishing touches on it to give it more of that honey look. Let's see what we're about to do. This is really going to make it look like honey. Giving it that head start on drying with my blow dryer here. There are like crafting heat tools you could use, but I usually just use a blow dryer because that's what I have available to me right now. Maybe later on I'll get a heat tool. We'll see. Okay, you see how that instant coffee really dissolved into that Mod Podge? It looks great. It looks great. Okay, now I'm going to, I have just the one plug, so give me just a second. I'm going to plug in my hot glue gun. And get that heated and going. And I'm going to get my little makeup brush here and my ink. And I'm just going to get some of that ink on my makeup brush. I'm going to go around and just kind of give it little taps. And this gives it even more of that aged look. Gives it more character, more dimension. Okay. You can, okay. I really like how it looks on the top. Doing that, let me put a little bit more. On the top, just around the edge, just really giving it a little, okay. And now I'm going to cover my ink so it doesn't dry out. I'm pretty sure that ink came from Dollar Tree. It's not like the fancy crafting ink. It's just regular old ink that you would use for stamps. Okay, that's how we're looking right now. Didn't that just transform so quickly just within the last like 5-10 minutes? Okay, and now I'm going to get out my little, I have a little, okay. This is Rub and Buff, okay? And this is the color Antique Gold, okay? This is what I'm going to use to color my honey drips just as soon as my hot glue gun is up and running. Okay, here we go. We're up and running. And I'm just going to do drips of honey coming down. It's still not quite hot, so it's wanting to just kind of sit there. Once it gets good and hot, it's going to run really well. So give me just a second. But even that, look, that looks really neat, the way it's just sitting on there. I don't know how well you're able to see that. Let's see here. Okay, that's a little better. See that? Okay. And we're going to go all along the rim with it. Okay. You can just do the front, or you can go all over the whole thing with it. I need more glue sticks. I swear. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. I love having my craft box right here, my little craft cart. I'm going around the whole top with it. It's okay if it goes in, but you really want it to come down some. Okay. Hot glue my hand. It's fine. Thankfully, it's not too hot yet. Okay. So you can see it's on there. but from a shelf, it would not be visible. So we are going to give it some color. And I'm just going to do a few more droplets hanging down. Okay. See how cool it's looking? Okay. Let's see. Okay, we're not quite there yet. As far as it being dry, I'm going to locate my little cover this for a second. Okay, I have one, oh, that's right, I used it. One brush that I really like. This is, again, a Dollar Tree brush, but I really like these ones. They just seem to work really well with the Rub and Buff. And with Rub and Buff, I've used this for literally so many projects, and it, like, look at how much I've used. Like, I still have all of this up here. Very inexpensive. You do have to get it on Amazon, or I don't know where else you can get it. Maybe a hardware store probably, because people use it on like faucets and stuff to kind of change the color sometimes. I don't know. But for how much you get to use it, it's a really good deal. It's a really good price. Okay, so this is pretty much dry. You see, I can kind of tap it. So I'm just going to go over those with my Rub and Buff. Go over those hot glue drops. I have a little hair there from the hot glue. And I'm just going to hit these drops with the gold. And just try to get in there as best you can. Look at how that's looking so far. Doesn't that look like honey? Oh my gosh, it looks so good. So just going to town with this all along the rim, all along the edge. And I'm just coming around the back just so that I can have a finished product here. Now, you can also, if you want to go ahead and do just a little bit, take it a step further, you can go ahead and add more of, oh, here, let me show you real quick. And that looks great like that, doesn't it? It looks so good. But I want just a little bit more dimension. So I missed a little tip of that in the front. I want to make sure that I get it really good along that hot glue. I don't want a whole lot of the hot glue to be showing. I want it to look gold. So just along the edges there. Okay. And okay. So there's that. Okay. Now, I'm going to just get my little brush that I had used for the water, and I'm going to put it in my Mod Podge, and I'm going to go around where I want just a little bit more dimension, a little bit more grunge maybe, and I'm going to sprinkle my cinnamon The cinnamon is going to be more subtle, right, than the coffee will. Okay. And the coffee is going to really show up. And you can do more coffee along with the cinnamon also to get those spots. Just going right along around those drops. And that's how that's looking. And that will dry clear. I unplugged my dryer, so I don't want to plug it back in. But anyways, that's how it's looking. Let's try a little bit more of the coffee, just a pinch more of the coffee in a couple areas. We have just a few minutes left, and we can do just a tiny bit of the coffee just to make it, just to give it some dimension in some of those areas. All right, and that's how it's looking. Do you like it? I hope y'all like it. I'm sorry if y'all commented today and I wasn't able to see. But that's the Facebook world for us. Please remember to catch me on Thursdays on YouTube. I'm live here on Facebook Mondays and Fridays. And then YouTube day is Thursdays. So there we go. That's the project. I thank you guys for watching today. If you are watching me on replay on whatever platform you're watching me on, please comment and let me know what you think, and give me a hashtag replay in the comments, and share my page out. I really appreciate it when you guys send my videos to friends or share to craft pages or wherever. Like it really means the world to me. And I thank you guys for following and just supporting my page. I thank you guys so much. And I thank you for making a homemade home with me today. Y'all have the best weekend ever, and I will see y'all Monday. Bye.